Hey, what's going on, guys? The Horror Man back, putting a positive spin on Scream 3. The Positive Spin series, as I hope you know by now, is a series in which Jason from Horrific Nightmares and I watch universally hated movies and then tell you guys what we like about them. Scream 3 happens to be one of those films. Even if you don't particularly hate it, chances are you have it ranked dead last in the franchise. A lot of people do. I feel I should come right out and say, though, this has always been one of my favorite sequels in the series. I know Jason feels the same way, especially after having recently re-ranked the franchise. For this Positive Spin video, I'd like to get right into what I like about this movie, and then I'll discuss some of the things that are typically hated about it. Let's start with Scream 3's opening kills. I love that scene. This was the first, and the only Scream film so far, to kill an established character in the opening scene. I love the Hollywood setting of this sequel. That also plays into the storyline, which I also love. The victims in this movie are being killed off as they are in the script for Stab 3, which is being filmed. The movie within the movie. Scream 3 was originally meant to be the final film in a trilogy, so that's the way the film plays out. It follows those trilogy rules as established by Randy in his video. Going back to the whole script storyline, I love that there are 3 versions of the script, so at one point in the movie, the victims don't really know who's next. Someone different dies in each of the 3 scripts. I love that. Of course, you get the return of Sidney, Gale, and Dewey, so that's always a positive. Detective Mark Kincaid, played by Patrick Dempsey, is also introduced in this sequel, which is sort of significant, considering his role in Scream 5. And yes, he does play some sort of a role in Scream 2022. I really like that the house in the third act of Scream 3 is the same building used as the college in Halloween H2O. This movie, in fact, has a lot in common with H2O. First of all, both films were meant to be the final film in a trilogy. Scream 3, of course, following Scream and Scream 2, and Halloween H2O following Halloween and Halloween 2. There's that setting connection, which I just mentioned, with the house being the same building as the school. And there's also the fact that Kevin Williamson wrote the original scripts to both films before being replaced by other writers. Kevin Williamson's original script featured a completely different storyline, but it had to be scrapped after the Columbine tragedy. The movie Trick basically used that script. I sort of consider that film an unofficial Halloween-themed Scream movie. It's not actually part of the Scream franchise, of course, but in essence, it uses that original Scream 3 storyline. Plus, it stars Jamie Kennedy. I also have to mention the ending of Scream 3, which is a huge positive. It felt like true closure to the franchise, or to the trilogy, at least. At the time, this was the end of the story. But then, 11 years later, we got Scream 4. Even with Scream 4 and Scream 5, the ending of Scream 3 still works. Like I said, it's definitely a huge positive in this film. I really like the mystery element in this one, with the photos being left at each crime scene. And although it's not the most shocking, I'd say one of the reveals in Scream 2 is, I love the reveal in Scream 3. Scream 3 has an awesome cameo by Carrie Fisher. That's a positive. This is also when we first see Randy's sister, who reappears in Scream 5, or Scream 2022. With the exception of the opening scene in the original Scream, I think Scream 3 has some of the scariest moments. Sydney's dream sequence about her mother is effectively creepy, for one. There are some really good kills in Scream 3, especially the explosion. Fun fact, and yet another positive, Scream 3 is the only film in the franchise to feature, albeit brief, nudity. And this sequel also features my personal favorite Ghostface in the entire franchise. When I think of Ghostface, I think of one of the killers in Scream 3. And yes, I said one of the killers. Which brings me to my next point. Scream 3 is 22 years old at this point, so I'm not going to avoid spoilers. If you haven't seen Scream 3, well, then stop watching this video now. For everyone who is left, let me make this clear. Roman is my favorite Ghostface in the entire franchise. But Roman is not the only killer in Scream 3. This is not just a theory either. It's been confirmed. The irony is, that's the thing most people hate about Scream 3, other than Courtney Cox's haircut. People hate the fact that there is only one killer in this sequel, because to them, it just doesn't make sense. Scream is a franchise grounded in reality, so the fact that Roman can seem to appear in multiple places at once seems too unrealistic. Randy even says in his video message that the killer in a trilogy film is typically superhuman. That's what Roman wants everyone to believe, but he does have an accomplice. Again, this has been confirmed. The reason why the second killer is never officially revealed is to make Roman look superhuman. But once you suspect there is a second killer, and know that there is, it's pretty obvious who it is. That I won't spoil though, but keep this in mind while watching it. When in the Scream franchise is a victim's body ever moved? Never, right? Except for one time in this film. Also, if you own this box set right here, there's a big clue identifying the second killer in Scream 3. But again, I won't spoil where. If you have that set, treat it like an Easter egg hunt. The answer is in that box set. So that's what's funny about this. The thing people hate most about Scream 3, again, with the exception of Gale's hair, is the fact that Roman seems to be a superhuman killer. But that's what makes Scream 3 so clever. It does not spoon-feed us fans. The second killer is there to see if you want to see it. Roman is not, in fact, superhuman, which is why he works with a second killer to make himself appear as such. It's as if people's first reaction is to simply hate something because they don't completely get it. There are even people I've seen online that hate that there's only one killer in Scream 3, but also refuse to believe that there's a second. I'll say it for the third time now. It has been confirmed. Knowing there's a second killer makes the viewing experience completely different. I give so much credit and appreciation to Scream 3 for trusting its fans. I guess the creators were wrong, though, in believing that some movie fans are smarter than they actually are. Now, that's not to say you're dumb if you never knew there was a second killer, because, again, it's not officially revealed. But if you're someone who likes sort of dissecting movies, well, it's all there. I'll just never understand the rationale in refusing to believe it just because you didn't see it first. It's a shame, because so many people don't know about the second killer. Scream 3 has become most people's least favorite in the franchise. It's probably the smartest film, though, and that works since it features the backstory. Whether Roman worked alone or not, and he didn't, he's still my favorite Ghostface. The fact that he was smart enough to make himself appear as if he was superhuman makes me like him even more. Another thing people hate about this movie is the voice changer. They say it's unbelievable, but I just don't see it. This sequel is set in Hollywood, so there are certain advancements in technology. You know, like movie magic. I personally think the voice changer in this one is a nice touch, and the obvious next step in advancement from the voice changer we see in the first two Scream movies. I mean, that's where you stop suspending disbelief? Really? Technology? I swear, some people just like to complain. I personally love Scream 3, and it deserves way more appreciation for what it did. Of course, you don't have to agree though. This is just my positive spin. Be sure to check out Jason's as well. What are your thoughts on Scream 3? Did you know there was a second killer? Where would you rank this one in the franchise? Comment below and let me know. To which film will Jason and I give a positive spin next? Check back soon to find out. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit that thumbs up and be kind. Subscribe.